Hello and welcome to another video from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Today I'm joined by Neale to discuss the latest team news ahead of Gameweek 26. Neale, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, how's things? Had a pretty good double game week 2025 there, so I'm fairly happy.
You're in good mood. Yes, you brought Aguero in, didn't you?
I did. Yeah,
Yes,
I think
good move.
I'm not claiming any kind of brilliant strategy here. It was just the obvious move because I had Aubameyang. I just got lucky after.
Well, you say obvious, but I didn't do it. But I did have Laporte, so second prize. But yes, let's move on to Game Week 26. Now, one of the things I just wanted to flag up about Game Week 26 is that Game Week 27 is indeed a blank game week. We've got 4 teams, Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, City not playing. That means that fantasy managers can ill afford to carry red flagged players. So whilst the bulk of this will be looking at Game Week 26 and looking at the players that are available there, I just want people to remember about Game Week 27 and players that we've got a red flag on. Keep a note of them, keep checking, because you may need to either remove them or take hits to make sure you can field 11 in Game Week 27. So I thought I'd mention that. But a point in case is Bournemouth. They face Liverpool, so perhaps people wouldn't be playing them anyway. But we've had a couple of long-term absentees of Callum Wilson and David Brooks. So yeah, are they still out? And does it look like they'll possibly be out beyond the Game Week 26?
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Howe gave his press conference this morning. We were just talking off air about how Eddie Howe's one of the less helpful managers. I don't know if he means to do it, but he's several times this season he hasn't declared an injury, and then come match day, Callum Wilson hasn't been available. So yeah, he said that Wilson and Brooks remain out. He said time frame for both is 4 weeks. Now, whether that's from this point or whether that's from the point they got injured, he didn't clarify. But it certainly looks like they'll be missing for Game Week 27 at this moment.
Okay.
Unless they have a miraculous recovery.
Okay, so if you are holding on to one of them, and I've seen them lurking around plenty of benches, you might want to remove now. This could be the time to get a player. Not only is playing Game Week 27, but try and get a player with a good fixture Game Week 26 as well. They face Liverpool, so Bournemouth do not have a good fixture. But yeah, there's some injury problems over the last few weeks for Liverpool as well. What's their injury room looking like now?
Yeah, it's been the defence that's been the main problem. We saw on Game Week 25, and actually the 2 game weeks preceding that as well, that they've kind of struggled at the back. I think they've only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 6. Very susceptible at set pieces, so anyone who has Ryan Fraser might be tempted to blame. I certainly am. So yes, Joe Gomez, he's out medium term. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's had surgery. It's apparently gone well. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is still owned by quite a large proportion of managers, he's back in training as of yesterday. Klopp did say that it has been 3.5 weeks, nearly 4 weeks since he's last been involved. So the doubt remains about whether he'll actually start. But he's certainly back in the picture anyway. Klopp said he didn't report any problems after training for the first time. So the flag will remain on him in FPL. It'll probably be 75, I would have thought, but not confirmed fully fit yet. So doubts still remain.
It is, but I guess those that are hanging on to him still, that does give them hope. Possibly,
yeah, he's nearly there. Yeah,
possibly of a start this game week, but if not, at least he'll play in Game Week 27. I know he hasn't got a favourable fixture. I think it's Manchester United, but at least he'll play. So we think. So that sounds promising.
It does, yeah. Elsewhere in Liverpool,
yes.
Sorry, Joe. Lovren's out as well. He won't feature. They're targeting the buy-in game as a return. You'll probably see Matip at centre half again tomorrow, and they're going to have later fitness tests on Henderson and Wijnaldum.
And so now a lot of those players, I found with Liverpool, they definitely played better with Alexander-Arnold and Wijnaldum too. I think Wijnaldum's been a real miss actually. So I as an owner of multiple Liverpool assets, I'll definitely be looking out for those two. I want to see them play for Liverpool, because I want to see Liverpool really, really hammer teams. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but I'd love to see them hammered. Okay, moving over to Spurs. There's a player I want to bring in, and I'm probably going to bring him in tonight. That's Heung-min Son. Now, I'm hoping he's fine. Nothing to be said about him. But also, there's some injury news for some of the long-term absentees at Spurs as well.
Yeah, nothing on Son in the press conference that I've seen so far. I'll watch that properly later on.
That's good.
Yeah, so Kane, Ali and Ben Davies are the three who are out. They've been joined by Eric Dyer and Vincent Janssen, who I didn't even realise was still on the books till 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yes, an update on Kane. Now, he won't feature this weekend, and he probably won't feature in the Champions League last 16 tie. But Pochettino didn't rule out the possibility of him returning for game week 27, which is when Spurs have Burnley. So that's maybe an option.
Okay,
he's definitely ahead of schedule. Yeah,
that is something to monitor as well, because there'll be people with Aguero, and the Aguero move to Kane is relatively simple for many, and that could be an option. It looks like it could be an option game week 27, something to monitor, but not for game week 26. So all about Son, I think, for Spurs. Man City, there was a bit of confusion. Now, Mendy's definitely not fit, but what else was going on with Mendy in the press conference? Yeah,
he's ruled out tomorrow along with Vincent Kompany. He's got a meniscus problem, and they need to carefully manage that, he was saying. Yeah, there was this happened just half an hour before we came on air. A reporter put at the Pep that Mendy had been spotted in Hong Kong, or he checked into Hong Kong on his Instagram account, which took Guardiola by complete surprise, because he thought he was in Barcelona, I think. But apparently it's all a big joke. There was some sort of ruse with his Uber driver, I think. I'm still trying to get my head around this myself. But he's not in Hong Kong, apparently.
Okay.
But Pep laughed it off. He was definitely taken aback when that was alleged. But I doubt Mendy would even attempt something like that, given that he's got a fairly fractious relationship with Guardiola to start with. It sounds like a lot of nonsense.
Okay, so Mendy possibly out. Now, am I right in saying I hate to mention Laporte again after owning him and doing so well, but he was playing left back as well. I spotted during the double game week, which is possibly why he was getting such good returns. Is it possible that he will play left back again? Yeah.
Okay. He played in both game week 25 games at left back. So we saw Danilo, Delph and Zinchenko just completely overlooked for that.
Okay.
When I write the team news for Scout, and I find probably Man City's the toughest team to write every week. No one will be surprised by that. You just don't know what he's going to do. He could try something completely different against Chelsea. But you could say it's worked last couple of games. He's certainly a better defender, you would say, than even Danilo, who's more of an attacking threat, you'd think, but and it's certainly better than Delph and Zinchenko. It's sort of buzzes whether he trusts Otamendi and Stones up against Higuain. I don't know myself. I can't say for certain. That's what he's doing again.
I just wanted to flag it up because there'll be some like me. They've got Laporte, and I, partly was thinking of benching him, but then I was thinking, no, I think he'll play, and then I think, hang on a minute, he could actually play in a slightly attacking role as well for a defender. So something to keep an eye on if we hear anything, especially from the local press overnight. Another left back, not Mendy this time, but Leighton Baines for Everton. Now, I don't often mention him here, but it's important to mention him because it could have an effect on Luke Dean playing, and who is still well owned. What's the situation at Everton ahead of their trip to Watford?
Yeah, Dean returned in midweek against Manchester City. He'd been suspended for the Wolves game and came back just as it happened when Baines had got injured himself. Baines will be missing again this weekend, along with Jagielka. So it looks very likely that Dean will be back at left back.
Okay.
Away at Watford, which I'm not sure is a good picture or not. They've been struggling for goals themselves over the past couple of weeks. We saw John Joe Kenny play at left back in the Wolves game, I think it was, but he was switched over to the right back position against City. So I would think Luca Dean's going to start at left back against Watford.
Yes, I would think so too. As Kenny was a great option last season for a few game weeks, but ultimately, found wanting really at that top level there. One for the future really for Everton fans there. Going back to the rest of the fixtures there, looking at other news as well. What else of note for fantasy managers going into game week 26?
I'll probably start at Arsenal because that's the best of the rest, as it were. People's probably seen by now that Aubameyang's got a yellow flag on him. If there's such a thing as a 90% flag, I think he would have it on him because, Emery gave his press conference yesterday, I think it was, and he said that Aubameyang's been suffering with sickness in midweek. Same thing that Koscielny's got. Koscielny's returned to training. He says he thinks he's going to be fine to feature. But that element of doubt, when a manager says they think or they expect, there's still enough to warrant a flag. So that's why you're seeing Aubameyang with a 75 flag on him in FPL. Elsewhere in Arsenal, they've got Mkhitaryan back. He's featured for the under 23s on Monday, and then Emery said he's back in contention along with a few other players. They're going to have to make assessments on Maitland-Niles, Mustafi and Xhaka. And he was asked about Dennis Suarez as well, who made his debut as a substitute against City last weekend. But he said I think he even said he had a poor performance or something like that. Not a good performance. Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be only an impact substitute for now as he gets to grips with his surroundings. It certainly sounded that way from Emery's words. But that's the Arsenal situation.
Okay. What about West Ham as well? Arnautovic. I guess with Arnautovic, it's not necessarily owning him because not many do now. But it's more the impact of the team. I've noticed that when he doesn't play, Anderson appears to play better, or at least gets returns. There's something to consider. So is Arnautovic looking like he might be back?
He is. The flag's come off in FPL. Pellegrini said yesterday that he's had a complete week of training and that he's available and fit to feature. So I would fully expect him to replace Hernandez up front. Despite West Ham playing very well against Liverpool last week, I thought might be their only change. They did say that Balbuena and Lanzini, who's was a semi-popular option last season, they could be back for game week 27.
Really? So, now there are a few people. I have seen Balbuena sitting, stinking even, many a bench. So as we're going back to that point at the beginning, keep an eye on that as well, because if that red flag disappears ahead of game week 27, when West Ham do play, that could be quite handy. Could save someone a hit there. Okay, so keep an eye on that. And what about Watford as well? So I mean, I'd like the Watford midfield of late. They've had lots of options there, but there's a few injuries there. Yeah,
I think as I said earlier on, they've struggled for goals, and I think a big part of that has been Doucouré has been missing. I think they missed his drive in midfield. He's more than a midfield spoiler. He really is a sort of an all-round excellent player. He is looking like he's going to be fit to feature. He's been back in training, and Gracia was very positive yesterday about his prospects of playing. So if he's anywhere near fully fit, you'd expect him to come in for maybe Cleverley. Pereira, who was a very popular option at the start of the season, and I think he's still got a high ownership, but I think that's probably accounted for by a lot of dead teams. He is looking unlikely to play, although Gracia didn't completely rule out the prospect. They says they're going to check on him in a couple of days. He was missing last weekend as well, but Doucouré is certainly looking likely to come back into contention this weekend.
Okay, well, thanks so much for that. Some definite news there, and some strange news from City as well. But hopefully we've given viewers some vital information, really, not just for Game Week 26, but as I said, looking ahead to Game Week 27 and making sure you can get 11 players out in that blank Game Week fixture there. Thanks for your time, Neale, and good luck with the Game Week.
Yeah, cheers, Joe. See you soon.